On the next episode of Cut Light Connect, I've got the privilege of being the interviewer instead of the interviewee. And I'm sitting here with two fellow locker members of the Vintage, and really just kind of wanted to talk to you guys. And I dubbed this, I've been really excited about it, but I dubbed it Life After Football Cigars Edition. Mm-hmm. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? Antoine, you go first. And then Andrew.
Antoine Bethea, originally from Newport News, Virginia. Went to Howard University. Got my major in criminal justice. Drafted in 06, Indianapolis Colts. Super Bowl winner my rookie year. 14-year NFL vet. Somehow, some way, found myself here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ooh. I wish I could follow that with all 14 years. That's beautiful. Andrew Peacock from Durham, North Carolina. Went to school in Boone, North Carolina, Appalachian State. Got a chance to play with the Detroit Lions for 2 years. And then now I'm here in Charlotte, living a life.
So we're all smoking Placencia cigars. It's one of our big brands that we carry. In general, what is the way you would describe your experience with a cigar?
Man, I would say it's a relaxing feeling. For me, it's when I can just sit back, father of three, a husband, business owner, but when you smoke that cigar, it's just a relaxed feeling. Yeah. I think that's the biggest way I can kind of express the way I feel when I do have a stick.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a de-stress.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
The first thing that popped in my head was Steve Harvey was asked that question one time. Yeah. And he said he referred to it as yoga for him. Yoga. Meaning not more of the physical of yoga, but the mental of I escape. I go to my place. I relax the mind. I heal the mind. I always tell my friends it's one of the only times where I can sit down for an hour and a half and not touch my phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not pick up my phone, not go through social media. I'm not scrolling, any of that stuff. I'm enjoying company. I'm enjoying whoever I'm talking to. I'm listening to whoever I'm talking to. And it's a great experience. So that's what it is for me. It's more of, I hope to be a father of three one day. I got my second on the way now.
Congrats.
So, thank you. And then just to have my time, me time away is what it means to me.
Yeah.
So what was your first, or when, if any details, like when, what year, what happened, the setting, the cigar experience, and what was the first cigar?
Funny story, I couldn't even tell you what my first cigar was. I was 22 years old in Miami, a Howard alum. I was throwing an event, it was called a fiber event. And he rented out a yacht, I'm on a yacht. He had some cigars. Hey, young fella, take this cigar. Cool. And I'm smoking it like it's a plant, like another plant.
Yeah.
Inhaling, doing all the wrong things. But I remember the experience or the feeling that I had going through that process. Obviously, that later on that night, it was a bad night for me. Smoking it the wrong way. But I remember just going through that process. I'm like, man, this cigar is really making me feel real good. That was my first encounter with a cigar, smoking a cigar. But since then, man, I've dibbled and dabbled. But now, man, a couple days a week, got me a stick.
For sure. First experience for me was, I believe it was 2018. My brother introduced me to cigars. First ever place smoking was Davidoff of Tampa.
Oh, that's a nice
one
place.
of the nicest, largest selection places in the world. And he had me smoke a Davidoff, I believe it was a signature. Great, smooth, creamy smoke or whatever it was. And it was just an amazing experience. And I saw how much he enjoyed it. I didn't really get sick or anything the first time just because, you're dealing with Davidoff, one of the best brands, the leaf, the quality of, the stick itself. You won't really get sick if you don't inhale. But just the experience itself, my brother and I talk more than we have, in that hour and a half sitting that we have in, the previous 2 years. So it introduced me to that connection point of what a cigar can be, what it can mean. For the next year, I probably got sick on every cigar that I smoked.
Just trying everything.
Just trying everything, not knowing what I like, not knowing what Maduro is, dark, heavy, anything, just trying stuff. And then this bad boy came in my life, the Plasencia Alma Fuerte, and it's been my favorite cigar ever since.
So you've definitely graduated from that.
Graduated for sure.
The light-bodied.
Oh yeah, Connecticut's. I mean, they don't even. Well, it's all occasion. It's experience. What are we sitting down to smoke for? If I can go to a Maduro that's full of body or more flavor, I'll go to it. But if I'm sitting there in the morning, I want to enjoy some coffee or something, I'll reach for that Davidoff.
So would you say that you are a certain time of day smoker, or there isn't a certain time of day, just when you have the time to carve out to actually enjoy the experience?
I'm growing into that, to figuring that part out. At the beginning, I thought price point dictated how good the stick was.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of, that's a pitfall a lot of guys fall into, because now I'm venturing into some $9 sticks that are amazing.
Oh, great. Yes.
Right? Alandino Cameroon is one of my favorite sticks. And if I had to smoke a stick, with a coffee, that's any Alandino, the entire line for me. I love a Honduran, I love a Cameroon, and just going down that avenue of, oh man, okay. Now, instead of searching by price point, let's search by origin. Let's search by where the leaf is made. Let's search by the wrapper, filler, that type of thing. So I would say I've graduated a little bit, still being nowhere near advanced. But graduating a little bit for that. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, nowhere near advanced. The same. At this time where I'm retired, I have a lot of time on my hand. Any part of the day, I can find myself grabbing a stick. I'm more so on the mild side, but morning time, afternoon, or in the evening. Like you said, being able to sit down and when I have that free time to myself, when I can enjoy it, I'll grab me a stick and I'll enjoy that.
I think it's important to, as you become more from a novice cigar smoker to a connoisseur, to be able to understand the experience and try different things, whether you like them or not. Everyone is always going to have their favorite thing, their go-to, right? There's guys who only smoke Padrones or only smoke a brand. But being able to at least be open to the fact that there's other cigars out there and other price points. There's people who they don't smoke anything under $20. That's how they feel about it. Whether it's a good cigar or a bad cigar. And I'm sure you could take a cigar and take the band off of an $8 cigar, give it to them and tell them it's a $20 cigar and they'll smoke it and think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, I mean, as long as you're open to it, I think the way the cigar culture went from this old man cigar shop concept where everybody smokes the same thing, big brands are running things, to these boutique cigars and to the Dapin, my father's, to the Tatuajes, to Plasencia coming back. Now you have so many different options, just like you do in the whiskey space. You have to appreciate that. I mean, I think not just stay in one lane the whole time.
I think that's life in general, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just keeping an open mind and being open to try new things. And like you said, like, you always gonna have your favorite. You always gonna have your favorite thing, always you can come back to be able to keep an open mind, to be able to experience different things and try new things. Like, who's to say? I like my father's. But if I never tried that, I would have never known that, my father is something that I can go to, Sure. So that's just in life in general, just keeping that open mind and just having those options open and readily accessible to you.
For sure. I think the word that you said too, appreciation of what this truly is. And listen to your interview when you say how many hands touch this stick to make it what it is for us to be sitting here and smoking a leaf or smoking this. The appreciation of that is another big factor of what cigar smoking is. Same thing with bourbon. To have a bourbon sit there for 10 years, in its barrel, and then we enjoy it, literally sitting down for, an hour conversation. the appreciation of that is what I enjoy and not what I love. You know, the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that was put into this is what I truly enjoy.
So going into and deeper, like with my last interview where I talked a lot about cigars. So you mentioned that you like my father. A lot of people don't realize my father, in somewhat of a family tree, makes a lot of other cigars for the people. Case in point, Aroma de Cuba. So if you like my father's cigars and you like that profile, then naturally you would like some of the things that La Roma de Cuba offer in their line, and so on and so forth. So like here, we take the time to understand the customer, whether they are smoking Plasencia or Rocky Patel or my father, and be able to then introduce them and show them, hey, if you like this, I believe you're gonna like this based on the profiles and the notes and the cigars that you already like. And if you're open to that, now you've just opened up, I guess, in an extent, you know, Pandora's box into multiple avenues of cigar smoking. Because for me, yes, I have my favorite cigars, but I get tired of smoking the same cigar all the time. I mean, this might be, you know, one of my new favorite cigars of this year, the Alma Campo Plasencia. And I've smoked it probably 10 or 15 times this year. And I love this cigar, but I wouldn't want to smoke it every single day.
Sure.
Another new cigar that I really like that I just got introduced to at the trade show was the HVC 10th anniversary. And we have this event coming up this Thursday to launch that. And I've smoked it 4 times in 4 weeks. I just wrote a review for it for Simply Stogies. And so like, that might be my new favorite cigar of the year. But then let's see what comes up next. I mean, there's Oliva's, we're getting some stuff from Oliva, the 135th. So I feel like there's always going to be something new, but you always have your favorites. I have my top 10 that I always want in my humidor. But sometimes you smoke 10 cigars and you don't like any of them. And you have to go through that. I actually gave Dan one time, I gave him a cigar and I was like, I know he's not going to like it, but he needs to know what, because I gave him so many good cigars as we were in the process of building this place. I was like, he needs to know what it's like to smoke a bad cigar.
For sure.
Because now you have an appreciation for even more for good cigars. You know what I mean? What would you say,
funny. Well,
like from your experiences too, like with the bad cigars, how do you rate a cigar? Like, what is your process? This is something new to you. What do you do?
Well, and even to hit off what you just said, as far as I like X, I can walk in the humidor and tell John that I like X, and he can guide me towards something. Aladino Cameroon was John's idea. Eroy 20 of Maduro.
In the dark, yes.
One of my favorite cigars was John's idea. Like, that's, you know, again, that's the what you get when you come into a good spot, a good cigar spot. Somebody that can take your palate and tell you what you like. So I think that's extremely important. But for me, as far as rating a stick, it just depends on, I guess you can say, overall taste for me. Like, that first third to me is very important. I rarely, in my cigar smoking experience, I rarely smoke all the way through the last third. It gets hot to me. I'm not sure if I'm smoking it too fast or whatever it may be. I don't like the bitterness of the last third or whatever it may be. So first and second third for me are very important. So those sticks that can show me that great experience, you know, 45 to an hour to the stick, I truly enjoy. Now, I mean, I'm still growing in the knowledge of what I like. I love, again, Honduran, Cameroon, and, you know, some different ones. But I would say it's overall taste as far as rating.
For me, man, it's all about feel. You know, how does this cigar make me feel? And again, it could be just me not being to that level where I'm a expert on, just everything as far as the stick. But for me, big time, it's how do I feel? Obviously taste and, aftertaste and things of that nature. But for me, it's how do I feel? And I think that's the biggest thing for me.
For sure.
Awesome. So let's go a little bit off cigars for a minute. I kind of want to talk about something else in the cigar space, and it relates to sports. So over the last, I would say, 10 or 15 years, and you can agree with me or not, but I think that cigars have made it more of a mainstream presence compared to 10 or 15 years ago. And, you know, you see the sayings, right? You won the national championship, smoke them if you got them.
Sure.
Now, in sports, it's very socially acceptable to say, I'm a cigar smoker. And I've known athletes and other celebrities who have smoked cigars and come out publicly and have been shunned for it.
Yeah.
Because of the anti-tobacco, anti-smoking, this, that, the other, especially, depending on your following, you're now promoting tobacco use to minors. That's always the argument on the other side. But just for our viewers, kind of explain that more is to me, my understanding and how I view it is smoking a cigar is like a celebration, whether it's today, this morning, this afternoon, or I just won the national championship or the Super Bowl, or I just had a child, or I just got married. So like I relate that it's a mini celebration or it's a big celebration, and it's becoming more mainstream, more socially acceptable. But I can only imagine what it's like as an active athlete being, oh, he's an athlete, why is he doing that? But what is your take on that?
And like you said, it's interesting as far as, when you say athletes and they have this spotlight and athletes are being held on this pedestal where, you have young kids, mom, dads, and young kids definitely looking up to them. And like you said, smoking tobacco, and obviously it's always been a stickler in the community. But to what you said, it is like a celebration. And for athletes, and I'm gonna just tell a little story about one night we were sitting in here, first time I met you. And when I'm sitting down and I'm talking to, probably had 8 guys sitting around and just talking and conversing with one another. Again, that was a celebration for me, being that I'm out of the locker room. And one thing that I miss about the locker room is a camaraderie with the guys, right? So when you're able to come in a place, an establishment like the Vintage, and sit down, meet guys that's doing great things in the community, doing great things, and being able to smoke a stick, like it's more to it than just the tobacco. You gotta look, like you said, you gotta look bigger picture, like what is this? What is this doing for me? What is it doing for you? So as an athlete, man, you always gotta be smart about what you do, what you portray, what you stand behind, what your beliefs are. And if you believe that this stick or this cigar is not harming my body or whatever the case may be, that's what I stand on. Yeah. Now, everybody's not gonna agree with you. Everybody's not gonna have the same beliefs as you. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you believe what you believe in and you stand on that, hey.
That was tough for me because I'm not sure where you want to go with that exact question, but the education behind what this is, right? We got a tobacco leaf, we got pure tobacco, we got maybe 2 ingredients, 3 ingredients, whatever. But then you look what's behind a cigarette, and you got so much other stuff in it, whatever it may be, whatever. Now, I think there's just a lack of education in the, in this space of what this truly is and what we're doing with it. I'm not inhaling this thing. Yeah. I'm not doing anything with it as far as taking it into my lung. Obviously, secondhand smoke, all that stuff. Cool, but the fact that I can do this 1 or 2 times a week, enjoy myself, enjoy the company, and not get addicted to it or whatever it may be, that's fine with me, right? I'm okay with that because the connections, the relationships, the conversation that I get to have of an hour and a half of doing this 1 to twice a week, again, it's fine with me. Everybody, the first thing that popped in my mind when you said that was Michael Jordan. How many times we see him smoking a cigar after a game? Right? And one of the greatest athletes of all time. Everybody's seen the Netflix documentary. This man was in the best shape of anybody, for his entire career. Goes out, that's what he likes to do, and he enjoys it. Yeah. So, I'm not saying this is good for me anyway, but I'm just saying
everything is in moderation.
In moderation, right? It is what it is. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but again, like you said, the connection, the camaraderie, all that stuff that we can get from sitting out here and enjoying a stick together. to me, it's worth it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important piece of what cigars bring and do to a group and a community and a cigar place. If you can take the time out of your busy schedule to what we say cut, light, connect here, and I've seen some relationships forged in here of business owners and business people networked through the cigar industry or through the cigar scene and are now doing business deals together. I've witnessed you come here numerous times and talk business and talk about life and educate some of the younger guys that are still in the league on what's really important, not just today, tomorrow, but in the future. And same for you as well. So being able to just see all that is what this is. And you're right, there's a lack of education when it comes to understanding the difference between cigars and what collectively they all bring and cigarettes and any other tobacco products. I mean, I always will quote Rocky Patel, like, this is a hobby, not a habit.
Yeah. Exactly. On the dot. That's it. I saw a list one time. It was a random list of what was in tobacco as far as ingredients. Then they rolled the script and showed a list of what's in a cigarette. It was like 100 and something things.
Yeah.
So again, I think the lack of education is the biggest issue.
So a couple more questions before we wrap this up. You're drinking a old fashioned.
Correct.
How do you like that old fashioned? I think that's your go-to.
That's my go-to.
Well, you're an old fashioned kind of guy.
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew? What'd you pick up?
Bourbon. I'm definitely a bourbon guy. Again, like we said earlier, the appreciation of what goes into this. I drink all my bourbon neat. I want to taste what they, meant for me to taste in this pour. And I enjoy it. I really do. I started off Scotch. Scotch is a lot lighter. You got things in that 40%, ABV, and then you got bourbon that can go up to 60 in certain things. So it's a little bit harsher. It takes you on a,
Different ride.
Yeah, it takes you on a little bit more of a ride. But it's a different profile for your palate as it develops. I enjoy it. I really do.
So if you could pick one cigar, if you were stranded on an island and you could only have one cigar with you for the rest of your time on that island, what one cigar would it be?
Man, it's funny because I just got tapped into what Andrew's smoking right now, the Placencia. I'm a Forte.
Yeah?
Just got tapped into that not too long ago. Yeah. I got about 4 sticks at the house and great smoke.
It was my first box that I ever purchased was the Alma Fuerte. My favorite stick of all time is the Opus X. It's the yellow band, so I believe it's the Oscuro.
The Oscuro.
Yeah.
The De Soto.
Yeah.
The Destino.
Yeah, the yellow band. When I say, I never I went down the Opus line whenever you can get them around that Christmas time, and something that gave me a different, I pulled fruity, I pulled all different types of notes that I've never pulled from any other stick. And that's what introduced me to, oh my goodness, this is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And now I understand why you can't get them anywhere.
Yeah.
So I bought a good amount of those, and those are special occasion.
Yeah.
Those are the sticks that I smoke when, okay, let's celebrate. I got a boy on the way, let's celebrate.
Yeah. So on that note, so you have a son on the way, you have a daughter. Mm-hmm. You have a son.
2 sons.
2 sons.
And
I have a 6-month-old.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
So my son, he's 5, and then I have he'll be 2 in December.
Okay. So we're all kind of similar new fathers, right? In the last 2 years. I guess since we're here talking about it, and we talked about the cigar side of it, for me, like, cigars are a rite of passage, right? A lot of my friends learn how to smoke cigars from their dads on the golf course, etc. My dad was in the restaurant business, so I didn't really learn the cigar aspect of it, but he does smoke pipes. My grandfather would roll his own cigars. He was a tobacco farmer. So mine kind of skipped a generation. So, but moving forward, I have a 6-month-old son. At what point do you think, as a father, would you share your first cigar with your son? When he graduates high school? Or
man, that's
or it's kind of up to him if he's even interested.
That's because for me at this point, like you said, my dad didn't smoke, so I was introduced to it from friends, teammates, counterparts, and even now as we talk about previously as far as just the tobacco, like I try not to smoke in front of the kids, right, in front of my children. Same. So to that point, I would definitely. It would be up to my sons
when he's ready.
Hey, Dad,
I just did this.
I just did this, and we're gonna have that conversation. As teenagers, as we all dippled and dabbled in different things, and we learned different things. But when he's ready to take that next step, and he comes to Dad and say, hey, I tried this, or ask different questions. That's when I'm like, hey, son, put my arm around him. And we'll go down that road.
So the kids pick up on that as they age, as they get older, and as they grow up. I mean, I feel like me leaving here, a lot of times I smell like cigars, and there's nights where I'm here and my son doesn't go to sleep and literally waits for me to get home, and then as soon as I get home, he almost smells me and he knows I'm there, and I hug him, and then he falls immediately asleep. So I know he's finding that, like, that's his comfort, like, that's Dad, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think as he gets older, it's that finding that moment when he's old enough to understand responsibility, whether he's graduating high school or whether it's college or whatever. Maybe my son goes to the NFL, like you two find John. That's my wish, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
it's same for me. It's literally that if he decides that he wants to do it, obviously I'm gonna take him under my wing and do it with him the first time, showing him the ropes, all that stuff. But I don't smoke, and I don't even smoke in front of my wife. Yeah. So she doesn't like it. So I mean, it'll be hard for him to see when I do. But if he wants to, great. Yeah. Maybe that'd be a great time for him and I to sit down for an hour and a half and talk about
a connection.
Yeah. Maybe he'll talk to me about some stuff that he wouldn't have said earlier. Yeah. Right. That's where I think the value comes in, is now I can connect with my son on another level where he didn't want to talk about X at the dinner table. Yeah. But when he came out with Dad,
more comfortable.
And he's more comfortable, whatever, whenever that is.
That's like with whiskey. So I did that with my dad, is we would go get a drink together and go sit outside of his house and talk away from my mom or anyone else. And so I didn't have the cigar like passage down, but I did have the whiskey thing. Yeah. And so my dad to this day, we'll get a drink together and then sit down and have that drink and then talk.
Like you said, I think it's big on settings. Man. I mean, like you said, we all three of us are fathers to young men, and even on a bigger aspect, black and brown men, because we go through a lot in this world, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of things that our sons are going to be going through that in our mind, we might be like, I think my sons might be going through this. Yeah. Maybe they don't know how to communicate it. Yeah. In different settings, bring different conversations. For sure. And, because I know I've been there where I'm not about to have this conversation in the house, not knowing what's what, but, me and Pops could be in the car together driving down, and that setting could just be that moment where I'm with my dad, Sure. And I'm even having those moments now with my 5-year-old. He's in kindergarten. Yeah. And coming home from school, it's just us.
Yeah. He's just talking to you.
Just talking.
I can't wait for that.
Or we going for a walk.
I can't wait for that.
We going for a walk, and he's comfortable in that time because big sister's not there, mom's not there, little brother's not there. This is my time. I have my dad to myself, and I can express what I need to express.
Yeah. So you have a daughter?
I have my daughter's old. She's 8.
What's the difference?
Oh my gosh!
So I got a daughter, and now I got a son on the way. Hey. Can you give me a overall general concept of what's the difference in raising, education, how they come to you?
Very slippery slope.
Okay.
It's a fine line. And it's crazy because me and my wife, we have this conversation all the time as far as raising a young woman and raising a young man. I know we're in a society of double standards.
Yep.
But just to be real, it's some things that I'm gonna tell my son, I'm not gonna tell my daughter, and vice versa.
Agreed.
Right?
I agree with
And they're their own individuals. Where I realize with my daughter, I have to be real cautious of my tone, what I say, how I say it. I have to be very cautious of that because I could talk like this, and if I raise my voice just a little bit, it breaks her. Whereas with my son, I can yell at my son and he'll look at me like, Dad, you crazy, get out of here. Ain't nobody tripping off that. So again, I love it. I feel as though having a daughter tapped into a person in me that I didn't know that was there.
Oh yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, again, I love my wife. I love my mom, but having a daughter tapped into something that I didn't know was there in me as a man. So, but it's a beautiful thing. You know, you learning every day.
I'm learning every day.
Yeah, you're learning every day. And shoot, my dad said, you know, I have an older brother. My dad told me, yeah, shoot, I'm still learning things. And he's been a father for 45 years. Yeah. And still learning. So, you know, it's a process.
That's part of life.
My daughter's 19 months now.
Yeah.
So at this age, when you're talking, running around everywhere, and her recognizing me as dad, and the love so I grew up no me and my brother, my dad, my mom, hardcore, all that. So there was no softness. There was no there was no sister. There was no anything. There was all hardcore kind of men that's growing up in the household. Be a man, do this and do that. But to have my daughter is a different ball game, bro. When I say a love, and everybody told me, they would say, you know, it's a love that you never felt before.
Love like no other.
It's this, it's that. I was like, I hear you, but I can't relate because I never felt that before. So to have her, man, it's a true love that I never felt before. And I'm very curious and interested to see how that shifts when I have my son, because I know it will be a love that I never felt before, but I know it's a different approach.
Because as a man, it's like, you know, you always want that son to be able to carry over your name, right? So it's different. It's different. I got my little man, like, you know, but that daughter, man, she tugs on strings that you didn't know that's there. Like, because I was similar like you in our household. It was my mom, my dad, me, and my oldest brother. So my mom, she got kind of used to, you know, I'm around all men, so I can talk to my boys this way, and you know, I never really was able to see how, you know, having a sibling, I would say, because we all look at our mothers totally different, but to have a sister or cousin that's really close to you, to see how, you know, a female goes through things is just totally different, man. So yeah, man, I'm excited, man, to see how the process goes for you.
Some help on that. 'Cause I don't have a daughter. I want to have a daughter. I'm just scared to have a daughter.
It's funny because I was always that guy. Oh, I want a son first. I want a son. It's similar, you know. I want a son to be able to teach this,
carry the name, all
that.
The legacy,
everything. But to have my daughter first, at 8 months, she knew how to pull the strings. She would do something and look at me and smile and know that she could get away. Come and hug me when she done something wrong. Like the tendencies of what she did early on was, and she know I pick up on stuff like that.
She gonna know how to play daddy now.
She gonna know, but it's still our responsibility to teach her what you know what a strong man looks like. All that stuff. So going through that as growing men ourselves is a beautiful thing.
We're adapting and changing.
It is. It is.
I've changed so much. In a year. Since after I was married, and when from the time that we found out she was pregnant. To having the child, and now he's 6 months, and I've changed so much. And at times I realize like maybe I'm too hard, like too into this. Like this is how it's got to be. I'm structured. I'm planned. I'm treating my home life like a work life, and I'm trying to figure out that balance. Yeah. Because I'm just trying to do everything right and not do anything wrong. And in the process, I'm being too hard, and I need to sit back sometimes and be like, okay, I just need to be patient. He can't talk yet, so he doesn't tell me what he needs. He's trying, and I'm trying to figure it out. But you're still learning.
Did that come from you or your wife?
What's that?
As far as I need to sit back more and be patient, and
she told me to do that.
She told you to do that. Okay.
So you said something that was really, really important. That again, in a setting like this, a group of guys kind of talked about as far as like finding that balance, right? Because I'm pretty sure as a man of your household, you want to make sure your household is running properly, intact. Yeah. You know, wife doesn't have to worry about anything, kids don't have to worry about anything. But at times, as a man, it's like, okay, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a provider, I'm a protector. You a lot of things. Like, how do I balance that?
Yes.
And it's tough, and it's not easy. So that's one thing, you know, I'm still battling with, you know, okay, especially when you have a lot of moving parts, right? You know, I got my wife, I need to be a great husband to her, but I also need to still date my wife, right?
Yes, yes, for sure.
But then I'm a man too, so I need to do some things to satisfy that as well.
Me doing the last interview, it was 2 months ago, and I was at a point where I was like structured, A, B, C, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. And then I'm doing that at home. And what I realized for the first time in my life, my hobby of taking the time to smoke a cigar and relax and just enjoy the cigars like you guys do, I was doing it as a job. And it hit me for the first time. This is my job now. Yeah. And I gotta find a new hobby. Yeah. So there was a point a couple months ago where I was just like, man, am I losing my passion for the cigar industry? Am I losing who I am or who I was? And, you know, doing that video blog kind of just put that pep back in my step. No, I just needed a reminder of these things, these moments. Like, because of this place, because of my hobby becoming a business, now I'm able to do these things. And sit here and connect and, you know, compare our lives to each other and talk through and maybe get some advice and learn some things in the process. Yeah. All while smoking a cigar. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this video blog is about. For sure. That's what this place is about.
And the different experiences of what we had as far as becoming fathers, meaning, so my wife and I tried for 3 years before we had our first child. Somebody that had it right away, different experience. I can learn from that, whatever it may be. They can learn from me. Even the one time that I came here by myself, I sat at the bar, I met a guy, Michael. He has 3 daughters. And literally, I asked him, I said, I got a daughter, she's 4 months right now. The biggest issue I have right now is how will I discipline my daughter? Right? Again, all boys, we got spankings growing up. Old school household, that's how we were brought up. And it worked for us. We were, respectable men, all that good stuff. How in the world do I raise and discipline my daughter in this day and age that we're living in, when I can't do what I was taught and I can't do what was done to me, to her? So he gave me pointers. I never met this guy in my life.
I know you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, never met him. And he sat down with me for an hour. Look, this is how I do it. 3 daughters, all I think under the age of 8 years old. This is literally how I do it. So I walked away with not only knowledge, I walked away with a friendship, I walked away with things that I can practical things that I can include in my life that help me. So again, a cigar.
A cigar.
All because of a cigar.
Right?
Yeah.
Could be that easy.
Right, before we end it, on the last thing, I was going to ask both of you the same question. moving forward with this place and the vision of what we have created here and building it, in your opinion, how do we get that outreach, that knowledge, that teaching people about the cigar industry more? We've talked a little bit about, in my last one, the FDA regulations and all of those things that have been taking place, the state of the cigar industry today as it refers to the world we live in today. I mean, what, from your opinion, two different, well, similar backgrounds, but different. I mean, what can we do? And, this is why I wanted to do this set, because, there's a lot of different video blogs out there that pertain to cigars and alcohol and spirits. At the end of the day, this is more of a real conversation with three real people who go through similar things, all while smoking a cigar, and how we've connected from three different walks of life. So how can we better that or increase that to make this community grow for the positive?
The craziest thing, the thing that made me join the first time that I came here was how inclusive you guys are. The amount of women I see in this place is crazy. I've never, like you said, a traditional cigar place. You got the older man, he's sitting enjoying a cigar, whatever it may be. You got young millennial women in here that are also enjoying the experience. Maybe I'm not sure, the expertise on cigars, but they just enjoy the environment, the communication, all that stuff, and the camaraderie, all that stuff that we just talked about.
Yeah.
You're including everybody. Not only that, you're in one of the best locations of South End that has that demographic of all those individuals. So me personally, I think you're on the right track of doing that already. There ain't nothing I can tell you that's going to increase that, because I see it, which is why I come here, which is why I join, the membership, because it's here. My wife, when she has, our son, we'll get a babysitter and I'll bring her here for the first time, right? I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Because this is the place that I've been wanting, and I can go to any cigar bar and I can have that same cigar experience that I've always had. But the vintage, whiskey, cigar, cocktail, all that stuff that's entwined. We brought one of my friends' fiancés here. She had the best espresso martini she ever had. Nice. Cool. Sit back and enjoy that cocktail.
Yeah.
You don't have to smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
But it's the environment that you create, the demographic that you bring in here to say, hey, this is not a cigar lounge that's just a traditional man. This is a place to come, communicate, pregame, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then go do, whatever after.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. It's the environment. It's the feel that you get when you walk in the door. I think anybody that goes to an establishment, when they leave, they always think back on the experience.
Yes.
The experience that they had. So my first time here, stumbled across this spot. I had two friends in town that were heavy cigar smokers. So as a host, let me find a cigar spot that I can take them. Hey, seen it, came in. Even they said, man, this is a dope spot. This is something different. And they're coming from a big metropolitan area, And from there, I said, hey, I started coming back. Reached out, hey, how can I become a member? Because I know I needed something for me where I can enjoy the experience when I come in there. And like you said, to your point, I come in here on some Thursday nights, Friday nights. I see all type of people coming and leaving. And I think, like you said, that's you're on the right track.
Thank you.
You're on the right track, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a great experience.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you guys both for coming. I really do appreciate
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yeah.